Shalom. I like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ha-Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, taught me this truth. Salutations to the Akim and the Aqua of the hopeful elect. Lord's willing, I'll be part of that number. Just coming in the spirit and theme of prophecy. I got a video on YouTube I would like you to see, and I'm going to get some scripture and talk about the MOTB and why you shouldn't take it. So Lord's willing, this will be edifying.
China is pushing ahead into a cashless society. It's creating a new digital currency to replace paper money and coins. It will also give the Communist Party total knowledge of how the Chinese people are spending their money. And that opens the door for unprecedented government control. George Thomas has the story.
The Chinese were the first in the world to invent paper money back in the 7th century. Now, more than 1,400 years later, China is again on the cusp of creating a new form of government currency that some say could pose a serious economic threat to America and the West.
China is about to launch one of the most revolutionary financial projects in the world.
They're not cryptocurrencies. They're not so-called stable coins. In effect, they are the national physical currency of a country, just represented in a digital form.
Eric Bethel is the former U.S. executive director of the World Bank.
Bitcoin near record highs, crossing 23,000.
He says while the world fixates on private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin,
the digital yuan isn't a payment system, it's actual money.
Beijing is busy building a digital version of its own currency, the yuan, also known as the renminbi, to control its citizens and eventually threaten the dominance of the U.S. dollar.
They pretty much created all of the building blocks that will allow a central bank digital currency to flourish.
And Yahya Fanusi, a former economic and counterterrorism analyst in the CIA, says China's goal is to replace cash with a digital currency that's controlled by the communist government's central bank.
China has said for a while that it expects to pretty much be a cashless society in the future. So the idea is that cash notes, coins will no longer be around, and that people will be using digital currency that's going to be in their wallets.
That digital currency will also be issued by the government bank, allowing what Congressman Michael McCall, the top Republican on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, says is unprecedented access to people's financial transactions.
This will give them data on behavior, on how they spend.
And giving Beijing the power to track that spending in real time.
There will be a point where the People's Bank of China is going to be able to peer inside of every single transaction that everyone does 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Which means if you are a human rights activist or a Christian, authorities can now use this new technology to punish you if you engage in activities they consider anti-government.
This technological ability is something that the government has never had before. It always had to go to companies to say, okay, cut off this person. Now, the Chinese government, I think, with sort of the flip of a switch, can make people fall in line by cutting off their access to money.
Eventually, U.S. and other foreign companies doing business in China will be required to use the government's new digital currency payment system.
There's a competitive issue. There are, I'd say, even cybersecurity issues, privacy issues. You're handing over your data to the Chinese Communist Party by participating in this digital currency system.
The U.S. dollar is the world's dominant reserve currency. China's renminbi is number 8. Beijing's ambition is to eventually supplant the dollar's global dominance with the digital yuan.
The big concern is, internationally, especially for the U.S., is in the long term, this is an important step. This is what I would call a fintech, a financial technology development. And the issue is that China is thinking decades in advance. It's not thinking about the next 2 to 3 years, per se.
In June, the communist government handed out more than $6 million worth of its digital currency to its citizens as part of a series of trials around the country. The first kicked off in Beijing, allowing residents there to use 2 government bank apps to test digital payments. China then plans to make its big digital currency splash at the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. Now that the world's largest authoritarian regime has launched this first-of-a-kind sovereign digital currency, some in the U.S., like Congressman Mike Waltz, worry Beijing will use this form of payment to also skirt economic sanctions.
The Chinese government convinces countries like Burma, Iran, North Korea, and others to do business in that Chinese digital currency. It will also allow China and those countries to work around one of our most powerful tools, which is sanctions.
Based on history, Waltz believes China is only too happy to share the technology with other rogue regimes that seek to enhance their own surveillance capabilities over their citizens.
So that those other countries in Africa, the Middle East, and elsewhere can dominate their people in line with the Chinese version of government. But that data then comes back to Beijing so that they will literally, through facial recognition, be able to monitor the globe.
Yeah, you see that? Trying to get the other countries like you said, North Korea, Bermuda, Iran. I believe he said Iran. Trying to get them to use the CBDC too. That's coming to America real soon.
George Thomas, CBN News.
Yeah, that's coming to America real soon. Matter of fact, let me get a quick scripture. It was the book of James, chapter 5, verse 1. And if you see in the head, the head title, Misuse of Riches. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be witnessed against you, and shall eat your flesh as if it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Yeah. Because the society that we know how it is as now is coming to a complete change. They're going to do a 180 on you or a 360 on you. They're trying to get rid of paper dollars and go to digital currency. But that's all leading up to the mark of the beast. Hold on, let me play some more of this.
Hello.
George Thomas, CBN News.
Well, if you've ever wondered about some passages in the Bible, how can a government restrict the population so that you cannot buy or sell unless you have a particular mark? Well, this is the answer. We're literally being set up for that kind of government control. The Chinese government is pushing ahead on many fronts to restrict what its population can and cannot do. They already restrict the right of assembly. They already restrict religious freedom. They certainly restrict political speech and any speech that is critical of their government. And the way they run things is definitely cracked down on. All you have to do is look at what's happened in Hong Kong over the past just 2 years, and you get a very clear picture of where they're going. But they want to control And they're doing it right now with social media scoring, where if you don't score a particular way, you're not allowed to travel. That's already in place. But just imagine a government that if you step out of line, they can now turn off all your money and do it instantly. So you cannot buy or sell. You don't have the right in the marketplace to participate anymore. That's what digital currency allows a government to do. And if you think it's just going to happen in China, think again. The Federal Reserve already has a study group looking at a digital currency for the United States. Why are they doing that? Because they're afraid China will usurp the U.S. and become the world currency. That digital currency is taking over. So you see all the action happening in the stock markets, the various markets for Bitcoin.
Yeah, you see, like I said, that's coming to America. The whole world gonna do it. Let me get that quick preset, just in case you don't know already. Like you see, he said it was talking about a mark. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 13. Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And let's look up this word mark. See, they're going to make this mandatory.
Strong's G 5480. Kharagma. Kharagma.
And it reads, a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. the mark branded upon horses. Thing carved, sculpture, graven image, graven work rather. Slacking. Yeah, it's gonna be an imprinted mark. It's gonna be subdermal, meaning under your skin. And you go into that root word, and it takes you to karax, a pale or stake, a palisade, rampart, or rampart. That's the instrument that they're going to use to implement the charagma on you. And you go into that root word, it goes into grapho. This is what's going to be on the chip, on the mark, to write with reference to the form of letters, to delineate letters on a tablet, parchment, paper, or other material, to write with reference to the contents of the writing, to express in written characters, to commit to writing things, to write down, record. Yeah. Like I said, all your information is going to be on the chips. If you ever heard of Aaron Russo, he has an interview that he did with Alex Jones, and he explained it. How Nick Rockefeller, one of his friends, Nick Rockefeller, explained to him that they wanted to get the whole population chipped. They want the whole world chipped. This is the goal of the global elites, and it's coming to fruition. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you're not going to be able to buy and sell without this physical mark. It has nothing to do with spirituality. This is a physical thing that they're doing. Let me finish the rest of this.
Very various markets for Bitcoin, other digital currencies, their rapid rise and people becoming overnight millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires based on the value of these digital currencies. And so the Federal Reserve wants to get in on that action to protect the U.S. dollar as the world currency. We depend on that right now. We're spending ourselves into oblivion, and what allows us to do that is that we have the world's digital currency. So we're essentially borrowing against our value of our currency in order to have a $2 trillion deficit. Well, that party has to come to an end at some point in time. China is waiting for that party to end, and they want to step on the world stage with digital currency. Unfortunately, at the end of that, you and I will now be subject to a government that may not agree with your opinions, may not agree with your religion, may not agree with the people you hang out with, and they would absolutely restrict your access to that digital currency in an effort to control you. That's how you get fulfillment of a Bible verse that says you can't buy or sell without a mark.
Yeah. See, even Esau knows that they're going to force this thing onto the people. You know, but if you have faith in the Heavenly Father, you better not take that mark. And this is only for the children of Israel. Talking about you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and you scattered Israelites among the heathen that look like heathen. This is only for the Israelites. If you're not an Israelite, you can take the mark all you want. You're going to be destroyed regardless. But you shouldn't, but you better not take that mark if you're an Israelite. Even though we know that 2/3 of our people are going to take the mark, and be cut off, pursuant to Zechariah 13:8. There's verse 18, back in Revelation 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Yeah, and that's that 666. That goes into Psi Phi Sigma, and that's the number of the UPC code. Like I said, they're trying to brand the people like cattle. Turn the human body into a product. But you better not take that mark, man. This is the penalty for taking that mark. Look, you read the heading, it says doom for worshipers of the beast. This is Revelation 14:9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Yeah, so you're going to be front row and center for the thermonuclear holocaust that's coming to the shores of Babylon, aka America. Verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Yeah. So it would behoove you not to get that mark. I looked up RFID chip in humans on Google, and it says a radio frequency identification chip is a tiny device that can be implanted under the skin to serve a variety of purposes. Yeah, you see? It's a tiny device that can be implanted under the skin. That's the mark that they're talking about in Revelation, the 13th chapter. And that was the penalty, and that's the penalty in the 14th chapter if you get it. Let me see.
When Elias Brotberger goes to work, he doesn't need ID. And he doesn't need money. In fact, much of what he needs to get through the day is hidden right there, just below the surface, in his hand.
You like to touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, weird. Yeah, it's like a grain of rice.
Yeah, a grain of rice.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Yeah, it's all in chip, so I use it like to get around the building.
Buy snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's buy some snacks.
Exactly.
So I can't open it.
No.
Okay.
So what I need to do is I need to first blip my chip, and it will log me in, and from there I get access to the fridge.
Popular TV shows like Black Mirror have imagined chips as part of a dystopian future.
Install ingrain procedure with local anesthetic and you're good to go.
In Sweden, the microchips are already here.
The microchip implants use the same technology that's in contactless credit cards,
which have made cash pretty much obsolete in Sweden.
No cash.
At this tech fair, a chipping event for those on the cutting edge, merging their hands with this new technology.
I thought it would be fun, right?
The process is simple and swift. A pinch of the skin, and in a matter of seconds, the chip is inserted. The transformation is complete. As for the pain,
I barely felt it.
But even in this nation of early adopters, not everyone is racing to get chipped.
Feel less human. I will feel like a robot. I think, it's so much more data can go into this, when it's in your body.
There's no central registry tracking how many people are chipped, but biohacker Hannes Wellblood estimates between 5,000 and 10,000.
In the future, do you think everyone is going to be chipped?
I think it'll be voluntary, but I am certainly convinced that millions of people will find it very, very valuable to have a smart device under their skin.
Human microchipping may be our future, but in Sweden, it's already reality. Sarah Harmon, NBC News, Stockholm.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking.
Yeah, so as you can see, Sweden already got it popped off. I believe they got like 50,000 or damn near all of their population is chipped, like a vast majority of them. But yeah, like I was saying, you better not take that chip if you're an Israelite. That's your ass if you take that chip. So Lord's willing, you was edified. Till next time, I say shalom.